Hi everyone, Miss Reed here. Welcome to the third week of April. That's hard to believe that we're already in the third week of April. We are working on problem solving as our character trait. And today I'm going to read a story called Katie and the Puppy Next Door. And in that story, it's going to remind you that we have lots of different ways to solve problems. And sometimes the way we solve a problem is by a compromise, or it's called making a deal. So when you compromise or make a deal with someone, you don't get everything you want. You get a little bit of what you want, and they get a little bit of what they want, and usually that's good enough. So we're going to listen to that story and think about ways to problem solve. In the story, you'll see that Katie uses more than just compromise. She does something else that helps her come to the decision about how to solve it, which I also know you're very good at. So when we get to the other end of the story, we'll talk about that. So stay tuned. April is the month of problem solving. And here is our problem solving wheel. Katie and the Puppy Next Door. The story is by John Himmelman. It's for Sally and sweet little Giselle. One morning at breakfast time, Sarah Ann said, "Guess what, Katie? Our new neighbors Elizabeth and Ruby are coming over." Katie did not know who they were, but she wagged her tail politely. When the doorbell rang, Sarah Ann called Katie to the door. "Come meet your new friend," she said. "Yip, yip, yip," barked Ruby. She ran past Katie into the house. Katie found her playing with the cats. "The cats are my friends, not hers," Katie thought. She burst into the room. "Woof, woof," she barked. Ruby ran into the kitchen, and she started eating Katie's food. "That's my food," thought Katie. "Woof, woof," she barked. Ruby took another bite and ran out of the kitchen. Katie looked for Ruby, and she found her chewing on her squeaky bone. "Woof, woof," she barked. Ruby dropped the bone and hid under the couch. Katie took her toy and began to chew, but she didn't feel like playing with it. But she didn't want Ruby to have it either. Sarah Ann came into the room. "Oh, Katie," she said, "you should share your things with your friends. That's what makes having friends fun." Elizabeth picked up Ruby and took her home. The next week, Sarah Ann said, "Katie, Elizabeth and Ruby are coming over again. Please try and share your things." Katie left the room and lay down on her pillow. She did not want to share her things. They were her things. Later, Katie heard noises in the other room. Ruby was playing with the cats. "Woof!" Katie barked. She was about to burst into the room and chase Ruby away. She tried to hold herself back. She tried very hard. Then she lay down on the floor and watched. "Woof," said Katie quietly. Later, Katie heard noises in the other room. Ruby was playing with the cats. "Woof!" Katie barked. She was about to burst into the room and chase Ruby away. She tried to hold herself back. She tried very hard. Then she lay down on the floor and watched. "Woof," said Katie quietly. Ruby ran into the kitchen and started to eat Katie's food. "That's my food," thought Katie. She was about to chase Ruby away from her bowl. She tried to hold herself back. She tried very hard. Then she lay down on the floor and watched Ruby eat. Katie grumbled quietly. Ruby ran out of the kitchen. Katie heard squeak, squeak, squeak from the other room. Ruby was playing with Katie's squeaky bone. Katie wanted to take it away from Ruby. She tried to hold herself back. She tried very hard. Then she lay down and she watched Ruby chew on her toy. Katie sighed. So it kind of looks like Katie's giving up, but I also think one of the things that's happening here is that Katie is taking some time, letting her brain calm down, and thinking about what she can do to make this problem better. Because remember, when you're solving a problem, you always want to try and make it smaller instead of bigger. So by holding herself back and thinking through it, she's actually keeping the problem small. Ruby walked over to Katie and dropped the toy in front of her. Katie picked it up in her mouth. Then Ruby grabbed the other end and pulled. Katie pulled back. Ruby pulled back. Katie pulled back. I wonder if it's going to be a fight or if they're going to play together. It's hard to tell right now. Soon Katie and Ruby were having a tug of war. This is fun, thought Katie as they spun in circles. Katie dropped the toy and ran around the room. "Arroo!" she howled. Ruby chased her. "Yip, yip, yip," she barked. They chased each other through every room in the house. Yikes, they look like they're destroying that house. Soon they were thirsty and tired. Lap, lap, lap went their tongues as the two dogs drank side by side. Katie walked over to her pillow and plopped down with the cats. Ruby watched. Katie moved over to make room for her friend. And that is the end. They did end up being friends and solving that problem. So did you notice the other ways that they solved that problem? Of course, they compromised. Katie had to compromise with her bone, right? She had to make a deal, like, okay, I'll play with it with you instead of playing with it by myself, which is probably what she really wanted, just to keep it for herself. But in order to keep the problem small, she decided to share it and make a deal with Ruby, right? But the other thing that Katie did that we can do every single day is to take a minute, back away. You're not giving up and you're not giving in. You're thinking about how to keep the problem small. And that's a really good problem-solving idea. To take a deep breath or to take a break. Just rest your brain long enough to let it think about what needs to happen next. Because when we get angry or frustrated about something, our brains become a ball of feelings and we can't think and plan. All we want to do is act and react. And so if you can calm your brain down, just a few deep breaths, then you can make a plan. And usually the plan is going to be the kind of plan that works because you've thought it through. You're smart, capable kids. You know how to solve problems. If you let your brain do the work, you'll be able to figure it out. This works with your parents. It works with your brothers and sisters. Might even work with your dog. Have a great day, Shaver. See you next time.